Good afternoon, Twilight Struggle fans. Welcome to an OTSL playoff game between Scott Senen and Isaac Henderson. It's been a rough week of Twilight Struggle for me. I've lost 4 straight for the first time in my ITS-rated Twilight Struggle career. Also 0-8 in my last 8 playoff games, although to be fair, 2 of those were against Harib Flores, current number 1, 2 were against Michael Patnick, current number 2, and 2 were against Peter Vieran, at the time number 3, former number 1, before my losses to Gabriel, who was no slouch himself. So it's been a bit of a rough ride for me, so I'm going to take some time off and just do some commentary instead. So, without further ado, let's get started. We are going to be watching from Scott's side today. He is the USA, Isaac the USSR. Scott won the first game, and so here we go. Pretty good hand here for Scott. He's got a couple of 4 ops, a couple of 3 ops, so 20 ops in his hand, which is above average. No problem cards in his hand, but he's also got Asia scoring, which I'm guessing will be its headline. Now, this is a hand where you could go crazy and go set up 4 in West Germany, 3 in Italy, 1 in Iran, put 2 extra in South Korea, headline US Japan for Asia domination, and then just let the craziness begin. The other potential play here is to simply headline Asia scoring and hope we don't see Vietnam. I'm very surprised to see Scott considering a 4-4-2 here. Scott is not a 4-4-2 player. Scott's a risk taker. He likes to go with the 3-3-2 setup. So I expect that's what we'll see out of him here. We will see if that is what he actually goes with. I don't think he's considering my crazy play. Works better, obviously, when you have Korean War in hand. Don't want to see that headline against you, although, of course, there's only a 1/3 chance of success. Well, I just learned Anton is going live. I would have done this at a different time if I'd known he was going to be playing at the same time, so sorry about that, Anton. Okay, so Scott, he gets away with Asia scoring, and Isaac, despite the fact that there have to be at least 1 or 2 good headlines in his hand, goes with the Europe scoring headline, which I think was a good play. Didn't run into Marshall, so gets it out. Now fills up Iran instead of cooing Iran, suggesting his hand is potentially weak, and also suggesting perhaps he has Middle East scoring. So let's see how that plays out for him. Now, if it were me, I generally hear attack Asia. That is generally how I would do it. Now, there, good school of thought to go 1 Lebanon, 2 Egypt. Yeah, 1 Pakistan. That's the other play. That's not bad either. I generally am willing to let the USSR. Oh, just a 1-op coup here. Oh, 1-op coup with Pakistan. Wow, and he gets the roll, hits a 5. Now Scott going to try that coup back. Needs a 3 at least. Typically, I am willing to let the USSR off the hook for Middle East scoring in exchange for making long-term gains in Asia. Oh, and Scott hits a 5 himself, so a big exchange of rolls there. And now DEFCON is at 3. Scott not in Malaysia. So we will see if Isaac has decall or Vietnam to take Thailand, or if he's just going to take a coup here in the Middle East, try and get a decent roll. But he tried a 1-op coup of Pakistan. That is unusual. So that suggests Isaac's hand is quite weak. Well, I should say his hand is quite weak ops-wise, not necessarily access-wise. He certainly could have decall or destall. A coup of Lebanon here would seem to make sense. Okay, and there's CIA, and no Middle East. Okay, wow, he does have a 4-op, does have decall. So actually, you take it back, pretty strong hand here for Isaac, and no Middle East scoring. So, okay, he's got the two wars in his hand. He's got decall and he's got NTB. So the question is, I think if you're Scott, do you take a coup of Iraq here to prevent a coup of Lebanon or Panama? Or he's going to go into Malaysia, which is not bad either. Make sure you get Thailand. But now you may give up a coup in Panama or Lebanon. And matter of fact, I think that's what I would do if I were Isaac because he needs the extra mil-op. Yep, going to go Panama, miss the roll. Okay, and then he gets to Thailand. So if Scott had tried the coup, he could have gone Malaysia on his AR and then taken Thailand after that. But instead, okay, yeah, and I don't like that play from Isaac. Isaac went one Thailand there. I think the much better play for Isaac was to just go one Lao. Still threatens Thailand, still forces Scott to put one in there. But Lao can be an important country. Putting it directly in Thailand just doesn't help you that much. Because you have to think that Scott is going to have a 2-op ready. But okay, Isaac winds up with Algeria and 3 countries in Africa. Have not seen socialist governments. That's one to think about as well. And I suspect Scott is going to hold Fidel. Probably will want to take Libya, Middle East, the only unscored region in the early war. He's going to want to take Libya, no question. He probably will want to get into India as well. And maybe finish taking West Germany, or maybe put a 4th in Italy. We'll see. Yep. Okay. So now the poke of Iraq makes no sense. Yep. Libya. That is fine too. We have not seen IP war. I would have gone into India there, but you know what? Scott is rewarded for his play by drawing IP war. Also gets Purge and Marshall, so gets both of the remaining 4 ops. Yeah, Isaac's saying he should have played decall instead of CIA. I'm not sure that's the case. You would have given up a coup in Africa, but yeah, if he'd played decall at DEFCON 3, he would have gotten Thailand. So if he played decall and then later gave up CIA, he would have had to give up a coup, and that of course assumes that Scott didn't lower DEFCON to 2 before then. But yeah, if Isaac wanted Thailand, he needed to play decall before CIA, and he had the opportunity to do it because Scott was not in Malaysia yet. Okay, here we are, turn 2. A great hand for Scott. Okay, and there's De Gaulle, but Isaac without a 4-op to take France. He's going to have to use China if he wants France, and then give up a coup in Africa. I don't know that I would give up the China card here. He will give up China. Now Scott's going to take a nice coup of, I assume, Zaire would be the play. And he misses on the coup, rolls a 1, but that's no big deal unless Isaac has decall and he wants to, destall rather. Decall we of course saw turn 1, and wants to use it to get back into Zaire. With a 4-op and Truman in hand, okay, there's independent reds. I suspect we'll see an overprotect right here. Yes, there it is, because France was eminently jammable with the only remaining 4-op and Truman in Scott's hand. So, okay. Scott going to take Zaire, and now we will certainly see Isaac event the Korean War at some point. Oh, he gets captured Nazi for a couple of EP there as well. Scott misses the roll. Fidel might have been an interesting candidate to hold. I wonder if he's thinking of holding Purge instead. Maybe he's thinking of holding IP War. Any of these cards are good to hold, rather. Korean War for the event, no surprise. Isaac loses the coin toss, but needed the mill-ops. I'd have no problem eventing Warsaw. I'd probably use it to take India. Okay, yeah, you're going to use Purge, and obviously Warsaw needs to be held for blockade. I haven't seen destall, so Isaac certainly could event blockade looking for it. And there's Middle East, so a nice surprise for Scott. He'll take 4. Giving up an early Vietnam. Yeah, I'm fine with this. Oh, interesting. Scott decides to go to Costa Rica, get out of Panama. Sometimes I like doing that, but usually it's when I have to give Fidel. Fidel's now in the discard. Okay, and there is Blockade. Isaac, no doubt, looking for D-Stall. Going to see Warsaw instead. Probably happy to keep that in the deck. Goes for for the second straight turn, breaks Algeria. I might have gone Cameroon there to threaten the Nigeria flip. Panama, not bad either, but okay. And now Scott gets D-Stall, also gets Nasser. I think Duck and Cover is a very nice headline here. Bert the Turtle will serve him quite well, protects Africa. Obviously, it neuters your Algeria poke, but still gets you 3 VPs. Yeah, and there goes Fidel. So he does get the Fidel redraw, and the Costa Rica play looks like a good one. So Blockade is gone here. Suez is not too bad, although you're going to lose both influence in France, which means no more access to Algeria if you are kicked out. Okay, and there's UN for Ops. Wow, just gonna go with UN for Ops to start the turn, which is odd. Typically, that means that Isaac does not have China, and he probably has 5-year plan and either Middle East or Asia scoring, and he's going to use that to, and doesn't want to miss an AR. Well, I'm not sure we need Greece at the moment. I think I'm okay going with Romanian into Nicaragua. That still doesn't give Dom. The reason I like Romanian into Nicaragua is because you want a coup with a 2. Okay, and there's a big hit on the coup. Isaac needs a 5, doesn't get the roll. Might see him take another shot at Nicaragua. Yeah, filling Saudi makes sense. I don't believe we've seen 5-year plan, so I don't know that there was a need to fill Israel there. I think I would have rather filled up Panama and Mexico. But it is an open battleground. And now Scott really out of ops. He's only got 2 ops left, and he's not going to be able to take Mexico and Panama. Wow, he was really quick to fill Israel, and in a recent game, I filled Israel turn 1 as the U.S., which is a little bit ridiculous. It worked for me that game, but I strongly suspect 5-year plan on a scoring here from Isaac. And it might, in fact, be 5-year plan in Middle East scoring, although I expect more likely Asia. Yep, and Scott realizing what I'm realizing now, which is he's got only 2 ops, and he really wants to get a second in Angola, he wants to fill Panama, and he wants to fill Mexico. Not going to be able to do all those things because he spent 3 ops in Israel. My guess here is 5-year plan Asia. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, of course. We haven't seen containment either. So, okay. And there is, okay, so it fills up Panama. Okay, wow. Events Nasser on turn 3 AR6, and here comes Sadat on turn 4. Sadat's a decent headline here, but I think Bear Trap's better. Try and get a coup off on Nigeria. Cambridge 5 is going to miss. No doubt Scott happy about that. And now we will see the discard to the trap. Scott doesn't need the IP war, so I expect we will just see it used for a coup on Nigeria. That's exactly what we're going to see, and he hits on the roll. Now, we know Isaac has 5-year plan in his hand. There's going to be a coup of Cameroon. Yep, stop domination. And now Scott going to protect his countries. So we know that Isaac has 5-year plan in his hand. The fact that he headlined Cambridge 5 might suggest he has no scoring cards, but also all 7 scoring cards are out right now. So he certainly could have one. Now, 1 was good enough there. And, oh, wow, another 1. So Isaac with the opportunity to drop Africa right now if he has it. And he does not. So decides to go to space instead. Hits the roll. I would expect we would see Scott space right away. And he misses. So Isaac with the opportunity to space again if he likes. Ooh, salt for the event. Going to pick up D-stall. Yeah, that is huge. That is huge. So now the opportunity. Now you could see a "We Will Bury You" coup here. Concede the 3VP if you're Scott. I wonder how Isaac is going to play this. But yeah, Scott no doubt was hoping to see D-stall spaced. That's a big moment in the game for him. I wonder if we'll see D-stall right away. Going to go, no, just going to, oh, wow. Goes with the coup in Colombia, rolls a 1. Scott needs this event. So, yep, I like that. And then here we go on AR7. And I wonder if we will just see D-stall used right here at DEFCON 4. Yeah, this extra delay suggests we're going to see D-stall at DEFCON 4. You don't want to let Scott, what I'm sure Isaac doesn't want to let happen is Scott get into Colombia, score South America, potentially with it blank. And obviously D-stall becomes less effective when the opponent knows you have it. So we might see something like just 2 Venezuela, 1 Brazil, 1 Chile right here. And if we do see that, we might just see Scott take a big coup on Brazil with "We Will Bury You." Yep, Jordan mentioning a tough call whether to space "We Will Bury You" or D-stall. Yeah, one D-stall up in the South American country is fine too, but then 1 Colombia complicates that a little bit if you're Scott. Also, obviously complicating things is a VOA would completely neuter that D-stall. VOA headline turn 5. Overall, at this exact moment, obviously we know D-stall. Okay, there it is. There's D-stall. And 1 Chile, 1 Venezuela, 2. Yep, that's exactly what I would have done. And yeah, I would take a big swing here, and I'd do it at Brazil. Okay, Scott just enough to get in there. And here's South America scoring. So the question now becomes, does Scott want to headline South America and see if he can just get it off for 3, or does he want to try and contest it? His hand, not very good. He's got to deal with Quagmire, Libs, and South African. Not a ton of ops here, and he's also got Middle East scoring to deal with. I think this is a situation where I might headline the scoring and hope to get it off for 3. If Isaac headlines ABM, obviously that's a big problem because that means he can get domination with Colombia. If he headlines Junta, really unlikely that he would put the 2 influence in Colombia. That's much more likely to go to Mexico. But I think South America is likely to get worse instead of better. Okay, yeah, cultural. So cultural steals China. Scott got to be happy to see that because he can just play Nixon and take it back. But now Isaac is going to be able to take Brazil. Which is what my play would be. I would just go 3 Brazil right here. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Okay, and Scott scores it for 4. Yeah, okay. So he had to give up an extra VP in South America, but he does prevent the coup in Africa. Oh, and there goes Europe for 1. I'd be fine eventing Nixon right here. Or, yeah, scoring Middle East is fine too. Headlining cultural, when you headline cultural like that, with both the other China card events around, suggests he might want to play it this turn. Or he potentially, maybe he even wants to use Usuri to give it away. And omit, okay, Muslim and flower power are fine. One small step, good to keep in the deck. Obviously, Kennedy as well. It's a niche case, but there is, on turn 5, certainly on turn 6, but on turn 5, there is a case to be made for keeping flower power in the deck. It is obviously a great card to give to Missile Envy as the U.S., and it's a great card to get from Missile Envy as the U.S. And with We Will Bury You gone, Isaac will be happy to headline Missile Envy if he gets it. So there is a case to keep it in the deck. But but Scott gets rid of it. I think that's fine, given that I think IP War is gone, and Korean War is out of the deck. But I believe AI War is still around, and we have not seen Brush either. So we do have some war cards around. Okay, well, that's one fewer war card. So now both red war cards out of the deck. Interesting. Isaac went for even realigns on Algeria rather than trying to set up, even realigns on Nigeria rather than trying to set up the positive realigns. Certainly Scott, by the end of the turn, is going to want to take South Africa and take Africa domination. Isaac also still stubbornly holding on to 5-year plan. Southeast Asia is a good candidate there. Africa is just -2 for him. Scott misses on the roll yet again. He's going to have to give up one of these annoying events. Liberation is not that bad with Panama overprotected. It's only a little worse than an empty action round. I don't know that I like giving South African here. I might hold that one instead. Overall, this board looks pretty good for Scott. South America looks bad, but he's ahead in Asia, ahead in the Middle East, up battlegrounds in Africa and Central America. He has lost France, but Europe, he is in no danger whatsoever of being dominated there. And of course, OAS, puppets, CRGs, all still around, along with, of course, Grain and Voice. So those nasty US 2s all still around. Okay, interesting. Scott decides to take back Iran and says, you know what? If you have Muslims, you have it. Okay, okay. Southeast Asia is scoring, so that's going to save Isaac 4 VPs. Although, of course, Southeast will come back in the late war, we would think. Scott not falling for that Iran bluff is going to make Isaac get Muslim Revolution. Although okay, and a 6-1. That's quite annoying if you are Scott, because Scott has an empty action round coming up here. South African unrest puts 3 influence into battlegrounds. Liberation theology can do that as well, but Panama's already overprotected. I think I would give libs here. And yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. Two Panama, one Mexico, and yep, you just fix that. Oh, interesting. He goes back into Nigeria and does not fix Mexico. Okay, and grain is a good headline. This is a good Kennedy hand. No bad scorings, but Decall, Gunman, Che, South African, and Central America. Which, if grain is used for a coup, Central America could be an issue. I think this would be my Kennedy hand. You could play China, stomach Che, and South African, hold Gunman and Kennedy to turn 7. Then you're really accomplishing nothing this turn. One small step's probably an event. Yeah, this I think would be my Kennedy hand. I normally do not like to hold it. Normally I don't like to use Kennedy on turn 6. Much more effective on turn 7. But I think this is probably the hand to use it. Okay, Jordan's saying he prefers South African unrest. Repair the one in Angola, put one into Nigeria. Okay, that makes sense. Does keep Africa domination. Makes Angola flippable. Now with the grain headline, you could see that flip happen. I don't know if we've seen Portuguese. I think it's still around. Okay, yeah, and there's a junta headline. Oh, and that picks up missile envy. Well, this is an interesting decision. So Scott may be sad that Flower Power is gone. Yeah, okay. Flower Power, Muslim, and We Will Bury You are all gone. Wonder what Scott is hoping for here. Oh, and he gets the purge. That is huge. Okay, and there's Panama, and we might, yeah, okay. Okay, so now Isaac is purged. Central America looks ugly, but Isaac is purged, and Scott has Kennedy. Matter of fact, I think I might play Kennedy AR1. Unless we're worried about. Oh boy, just goes for a one-op realign of Panama and hits on the roll. Okay, I might score Asia here. We don't want brush war happening. But okay, yeah, the Kennedy makes just as much sense. Brush war of Thailand or Pakistan is unlikely. You need a 5 to succeed. Okay, this hand looks a little better. Puppets is certainly annoying for Isaac because that'll get Scott into Argentina if he doesn't fill it now. And there's brush. Are we going to see it in Asia? We do! Oh, okay. And Scott breathes a sigh of relief. He would have looked mighty silly had that roll succeeded. Yeah, I think I would have triggered Asia. I think I would have played Asia scoring there if I were Scott before Kennedy. But I see why he did what he did. Scott going with a coup there, probably to stop arms race. And okay, there goes. All right, space race hits. Now Isaac can only space 3s. Of course, this turn can only space 4s. I would have had one small step here to stop double space, even though I don't think there are any 4s left that Isaac would want to space. I would just have ended here. I might also consider spacing Willie Brandt just to stop double space. There's Warsaw. Yeah, gonna take Argentina. I had the same issue last game. I had D-Stall as the USSR. Had an opportunity to fill Argentina with it in the mid-war, and the AR before I was going to do it, the US took it. Same situation here for puppets. Puppets only going to get worse here, but yes, CRG I think is fine. Puppets to take a couple African countries is not bad. Puppets into, something like Colombia, Haiti. Haiti's not bad for puppets. Guatemala is not bad for puppets. Czechoslovakia is not bad for puppets. The Pope is now unspaceable for Isaac. Okay, but Isaac, okay, and there's, yep, just going to overprotect there. Yeah, okay, well, now I wouldn't space Willie Brandt because, although, well, maybe I would, just to stop headline peak. Oh, and he has to give VOA. Okay, that is a rough purge. Didn't seem to be hurting him that bad until now. Of course, Isaac did have a whole turn, a purge turn, of course, but an entire turn to prepare for it at least. Yeah, going to play one influence into Haiti. Okay. I don't understand why we don't go directly into Argentina here. This Guatemala is fine. Colombia is fine. I don't understand why we didn't go directly into Argentina, though, which obviously threatens Chile, along with Argentina itself. Of course, it's a good coup target, but so is Africa, and Africa has yet to be scored. But okay, here we are, turn 7. I think duck and cover a very strong headline here. Bert the Turtle will lower DEFCON, get us some VPs. Isaac does have ABM. So that is something to be concerned about. Not much that Scott can do about it, though. I think I would still headline duck and cover to prevent 2 coups in Africa, because obviously you give up an ABM coup in Nigeria and then an ABM coup in Zaire, all of a sudden you're dominated. I don't think you can allow that. I think you headline Bert the Turtle here. We will bury you's gone. It's perfectly safe. And I think if I'm Isaac, I'm just going to coup Nigeria and score Africa before South Africa gets taken, would be my play. Isaac thinking about whether he should get more creative. He may use ABM. Okay. No. He may use ABM to take Chile and Argentina, let Duck only give 2 VPs, and then coup Nigeria. The problem with that is Scott will just take South Africa, and then you're dominated. Yeah, this is why I don't... See, I think this would be a lot tougher a decision for Isaac if Scott had gone right into Argentina. Because if he had, and Isaac coups Nigeria and scores, Scott could take Argentina and then put 3 into Chile and really threaten both there. Now, as it is, he can only take Argentina. Isaac with a tough call here. ABM, the clear headline, that's not the tough part. Okay, goes for the coup, hits the roll. And now just scores Africa. Okay. All right, that's a fine play. And now just the 2 in Argentina makes sense. Yeah, and that's fine. But again, if that puppets had gone directly into Argentina, that could have been 1 Argentina and 3 Chile. Now we'll just see. Yeah, we'll just see that. So a little bit of a tough break for Scott that he does not wind up with Africa domination. That Africa's been blue for a while. I kind of like that OAS play. Scott with probably doesn't want to give liberation. Portuguese not a huge problem. Willie is mildly annoying. Okay, there's EEU. And the Pope is in Isaac's hand and unspaceable. Isaac obviously happy to get EEU out of the deck on turn 7 as opposed to having to deal with it later. But he is going to have to deal with the Pope, and both of Eastern European countries are sitting at 3. Going to try a big coup in Peru. Oh, and he misses on the roll. Here's some huge realigns. Gets 2 out, gets the other one out, and that is going to be a huge problem for Isaac. This is realigning at -3. That misses. Okay, now South America will be tied. Central will be now the only red domination on the board. Isaac ahead in Europe, but barely. Misses on the roll too. Yeah, this is looking pretty good for our friend Scott. Gunman is now in the deck. Okay, and there's a Europe redraw for 1 VP. Scott needs his mill ops here. I guess he'll get it with Portuguese because he put the 1 extra in Angola. I think a coup of Haiti would make sense. That stops Central Dom. But yeah, this board looking very, very nice for Scott at the moment. Yeah, and there's the Pope, which has to be immediately, and it can't even be fully repaired. Yeah, Scott looking for Warsaw, notices it's still around, so he's not going to jam Poland here. I think you'll just see him take his coup. Yep, coup of Haiti would be the play. Gets the roll. I think I might play Liberation here. Just get it out of my hand. I'll never be able to space it, and then I'll be able to see my turn 8 hand before putting Flower Power into effect. Oh, well, maybe that changes the calculus a little bit. Although, I don't know how much it does. I think I like getting rid of Liberation. We're ahead. We don't need to take a big 4-op swing. I don't like that. I don't like that. Africa's already scored. We need a 5 there. I think I just like dealing with libs, but you know what? If you're going to roll a 6, then you don't even need to worry about it. Okay, so puts Flower into effect, no problem. Draws no war cards. Also gets War Games and Southeast Asia. If we don't see Aldrich or terrorism here, this looks like GG. In fact, I would be, okay, there's Missile Envy. Well, Missile Envy is going to hit War Games, so that's that. We will, this one's likely going all the way to final. But in fact, I think I might have headlined Southeast Asia. Although, no, because obviously, I know, headline of Southeast Asia doesn't make a ton of sense because obviously Aldrich would have simply taken War Games and then you get the coup. So, okay, Missile Envy takes War Games instead. And Isaac with the that's interesting. Yeah, Isaac with the opportunity to lose the game right here if he so desires. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to keep playing. And yeah, this is a tough spot for Isaac because he wants to take back Venezuela. But if he does, he's going to give up realigns here. And wow, just like that on that coup, South America is going to, looks like it's about to turn from even to U.S. control. Okay, those realigns, not exactly what Scott wanted, but not terrible either. Both players going to be itching to get to that third space slot. UN of Defectors is interesting. Wow. Okay, and there's a 6-1. Okay, so South America now under U.S. control. Okay, so with 3 dominations on the board at this point, it is pretty darn clear that a space would be my play here. Okay, that's fine too. No, I would have discarded to that. I think, even though you don't need to discard to it, I think I would have, so I don't have to give the VP to Pershing. Yeah, I would have just, yeah, okay. A coup with OPEC, and there's the spacing of Iranian hostage crisis. Yeah, even though he didn't have to discard to it, I think I would have. Okay, gets off Central for even. Scott will take his 4 from Southeast Asia. Yeah, I think I'd much rather be going into turn 9 with an empty hand than with Pershing. Okay, 5-year plan, Middle East. And Isaac's going to have to miss an AR. Yeah, jam of Pakistan, and there's, yeah, jam of Poland is good. That's going to flip over Europe. I think we'll see Pakistan retaken and West Germany retaken probably as well. Would be my play. Yep, there it is. Here we are, turn 9. Okay, we do see we get terrorism. And so that should be GG. Gunman's still in the deck, but Isaac was going to need to get Aldrich and terrorism, and Scott draw the gunman. Now, no good regions left. The best region left on the board is Central America for Isaac, and it is scored. I think terrorism is a fine headline here. Although there is a case for Chernobyl, just to make sure you get Poland back. Although, well, don't want to invest too much into Poland, given that Warsaw is around. So a couple of war cards now in Scott's hand, and he will probably have to give up some VPs there. Oh, okay. Gets the purge. Oh, and there goes North Sea oil. Not a big deal. So now Scott can't space any of these cards. Okay, coup of Argentina. Yeah, doesn't even get any in there. Yeah, and Scott doesn't even need to go right back in, because if Isaac wants to score South America for 8 for Scott instead of 10, I think he's fine with that. Evil Empire going to space and missing. That would have been a nice card for Scott to see. Now he's probably going to have to give up 4 VPs for these war cards. Panama would seem to be the target here, even though it is scored. Even though Central scored, I think Panama would be the play. Yeah, just go after Panama. Gets the roll. Yep, I think this one is all over but the crying, folks. This won't be a fun turn for Scott because he's purged and has some bad stuff, but not nearly enough bad stuff to cause him serious problems. Scott at some point is going to want to take Argentina back, but I think he'd probably want to hold Chernobyl in reserve. Okay, I can do that as well. Marine barracks will be annoying. Could result in the loss of Iran. Che, not a huge problem right now. Hostage crisis is gone, so I would expect to just see 2 Iran here. That'll even out the Middle East. Yeah, 1 Iran I think is fine. Now, Muslim Revolution is still around and active. There goes Asia. So now an 11 VP lead for Scott. Yeah, and I think we're going to just give up the 2 VPs from the war. Flower Power is a funny card because giving up a 4 VP OPEC as the U.S. is just unthinkable. No U.S. player would ever do that unless they were faced with losing the game. But a 4 VP Flower Power, no big deal. I've definitely seen Flower Power get plenty more than 4 too. Yeah, decal's annoying. There's no doubt about that. Now Africa has flipped over to the red side, and no choice here for Isaac. He's going to have to just stomach liberation. He has overprotected Mexico, though, so yeah, we'll just see him repair that. Yes, I did play a game with Peter where Flower Power did some serious work earlier in the ITSL season. Oh, and there's Muslim Revolution. Okay, well, certainly an annoying card there. And wow, doesn't want to give up Che. I guess he doesn't want to give up access to Argentina potentially. That was a really rough purge turn for Scott, and yet he is still pretty well ahead. Alliance is nice here. That's going to be at least 5. Oh, and there's Gunman, and he's not going to like what he sees. Yeah, Alliance going to be at least 5, maybe 6. Glasnost will be a nice 4-op coup unless we immediately see Reformer. Aldrich is not really going to need to discard anything. Might see Brezhnev AR6. Yep, that was a desperation play. Isaac needed a 5 to get into Uruguay. Okay, and now he's just going to give up a coup. I think I'd just give up Iran-Iraq war, well, and coup Angola here. Give up the 2 more VPs. Yeah. Okay. VOA makes sense too. Although you want to hold that for AR7 with Aldrich and Brezhnev in your hand, probably not something you're gonna be able to do. So that's a fine use of it. Scott still with 4 comfortable dominations on the board. Now we'll see potential Warsaw. Warsaw is still around. Okay, just going to take a 2-op coup in Uruguay. Scott really wants to get into Uruguay. I think we're definitely playing China this turn. I might just take Argentina and Egypt. Yeah, I think this is the right play. And then we're going to give Isaac a coup. Okay, there it is. Coup of Argentina, and gets 1 in there, but not quite enough. And now this is... No, I would just do... I think you could just go Argentina here. Yep, that's fine. Finally, Isaac hits the space roll. The players have been trying for it for a couple of turns now. Isaac gets the roll. But Scott is going to calmly collect 6 VPs. Oh. Isaac misses on the roll in Colombia. Can't even get an influence into South America. Again, miss on Uruguay. This will stop Africa Dom. No, it won't. Anything but a 1 would have stopped Africa Dom, rather. And there's South America. Wow. Ooh. Isaac does not make it to final scoring. Okay, well, that was an interesting game. Congratulations to Scott for advancing to the next round. I believe that was the quarterfinal, so he advances to the semifinals of OTSL Gold Season 5. A nice season for Isaac, but just came up short in this one. This one was close early on, but Isaac made it but Scott made it a blowout once things got to the late war. So thanks everybody for watching. Everybody should go over and take a look at Anton's game. He's playing Peter in an ITSL action. So sorry for launching a competing stream, but everybody go ahead and head over to Anton's stream for more Twilight Struggle action. Until next time, this is Justin Abramson. That was fun, but now it's done. So long, everybody.